guys, so today I'm going to talk about my jobs that I have had in the past. So my first ever job that I technically had was, babysitting. My first, real job where I got paid was a summer camp. I was hired originally to be in the kitchen for boys camp when, there's just boys, and then a counselor in girls camp. So when I got there, they decided I was in the kitchen. Cool, whatever. Um, and then I stayed in the kitchen for all that time. I hated it week one. Like, I wanted to leave week one. So, moving on, I got through week one. I hated the people I lived with. They hated me. And then week two, it just got worse. And I was called into the office week 3 or week 4 of boys camp to be told I'm too immature to be a counselor, which crushed me because that's what I've always wanted to do as a kid. I started going there when I was 8 or 9, and I grew up, I always wanted to be a camp counselor. Like that's what I wanted to do. And it crushed me because he said,
Well, you see, I did decide that myself, but I'm the new camp director, so I don't really know people and stuff yet. And I talked to some people who knew you last year, and compared to this year, we just think that you're too immature.
I held it together in that office before I walked down. And it was raining, by the way, which I love rain, but
the depression mood was so good.
my friends, they were out there, they're a part of it because they are boys, but I'm not supposed to talk to them, none of that. So he stopped me. He's like, "Are you okay, Chrissy?"
I said, I'm fine.
As tears are dripping down my face along with the rain. But he comforted me, gave me a hug, and said, "Well, God doesn't want you in that place right now because it is a Christian camp, and yes, I am Christian. I know, unbelievable, all that." And that wasn't even the tipping point. They said,
Maybe the last 2 weeks of camp, for girls camp, you can counsel.
so I said, "All right, cool." So the first thing that happened at this place that put me in a immature and inappropriate way to be a counselor was one of my roommates that didn't even come until week 2. So she went to our boss after we were hanging out talking. This girl asked me for my Snapchat. I said, "I don't know you yet, so I'm not sure I want to have you on my Snapchat." Completely fine. Pretty normal. Snapchat, for me, is a more personal thing. I share more deep stuff on there than I do on any other platform. So, we started, keep talking. We're like, "All right, you can join our conversation, whatever." As my friend was talking, she, got offended by me. I don't know what I did. And then we talked about testimonies, because as counselors, you share your testimony to show how God has worked in your life. And I showed her, I spoke about it. It was this is what you would do for the 7 to 10-year-olds versus what you do for Cliffside. And one thing about it is they do make you change your testimony sometimes, which I personally don't think is good. But at the same time, it's hard because those kids come to camp to have a fun time, to forget about their home life. And it's good to have those relatable moments that those kids can relate to you on. But at the same time, it's you want them to be able to forget about that and not have to deal with it. So I get why they have you change it, but I feel they shouldn't, just because it's a personal thing. She got all upset. She went into the bathroom. She wasn't crying into the living room. I remember earlier we were talking about it. She said,
If you guys are saying this stuff, I'm supposed to report you.
and I said, "I don't think I'd like you if you did that. That doesn't sound like the best thing to do." So she did that, and then she went into the bathroom and she came out.
She said, well, you don't quite like me much.
I said, "I never said I didn't like you. I said I wouldn't like you if you went to our boss and told them lies about what I was doing."
She said, I'm just going to go outside and talk to my mom.
Well, she did, and
My mom told me to tell our boss.
I didn't do anything. She almost got 4 of us fired. So, camp would have been, probably not functioning. But it's fine. So she went and told them,
Yeah, my roommates, they were cursing, they were talking inappropriately. It was just a really bad situation, and just, I don't think it was very godlike.
well, Little Miss is an angel we have ranks at camp. She had the highest rank. So she was looked at as the princess, the angel, the perfect one, the best one. And I didn't have that because I did a group there, which I loved that group. It was a really great group. I had a good experience. So they believed her, and when I told them it didn't happen, I then wrote a letter because I have an issue talking to authorities, and they did it off guard. So I wrote a 7-page letter, and it was on sticky notes, both sided. And then after that incident, my tongue ring. So when I first got it, I got it May 3rd. So a month later, I was at camp. I swallowed the ball. And then the next morning, I decided to go to the tattoo shop where they have them. And there's no Wi-Fi up there, because it's a very remote area. So I couldn't get an Uber back, and I was with my friend. My phone died. And the camp, owner had to come pick us up, and we ruined, a bunch of schedules. We were, a half hour late to work. And then the third thing, this is the best one. I've talked about it before. Some of the workers decided to go to a carnival. I, in the first place, wasn't invited, and I didn't invite myself, but I overheard them saying carnival, and I was like, oh, what carnival? That's cool. And they invited me then, and I knew everybody at that camp hated me. I'm not, it's obvious, Hunty. It's obvious, Hunty. It's obvious, Hunty. So I went and I threw up on myself on the ride. I passed out on said ride. When I woke up, I threw up. If I see it or, smell it,
It was running down me.
I have, a decent, coverage bra. This goes up to here. That one, covered my boobs. It was pretty coverage. It was much more than a bikini. People get offended by underwear when bikinis are, a lot less covering. And I had, high-waisted shorts that, came up to here, at my belly button. So
I took my shirt off.
And then my friend gave me her shirt. So that was that. They had a very deep talk about it. And then the guy was like,
Now you see, I was never a young girl, so I don't know how I would feel about it. But I don't think I would enjoy being that exposed.
what can I say? I have boobs. I'm a female. Oh no! It's not fair for the boys to think about me that way. I'm sorry I'm a female. I apologize. My job after that was a shoe store. And I always wanted to work there. I finally had a job there. I liked working there. I liked working with the customers. But I was never given a tour of the stockroom, so I was kind of thrown into my job not knowing what to do. And I worked there, they hired me November 9th, and I stopped working there December 31st. New Year's. I worked 1 week. I think it was December 11th. That week. That was it. I worked 6 days. If you're not counting training, I worked 6 days. Kind of enjoyed those 6 days. Until my boss, came to me and, took me out of the store and said,
Yesterday, it was hard working with you.
I, again, don't like authority, so I'm a very to-myself person. And I feel if I told him what happened, I may not have been fired. I mean, I wasn't fired, but I was a holiday worker, but, maybe still be at that job and getting paid. So then, he talked to me about that. That was, my last day. That was a Friday, and I worked the next day. I ended up being late because Friday, I lost my wallet. That was a fun time. Never found it. Those are the 6 days that I worked. And that day that he told me to, go to the stockroom and, look it over and stuff. I was in there for an hour and 15 minutes, and I cried for like a good portion of that time before like looking and like hiding from anyone who came in the back. Yeah. And this happened to my other friend too, so it's not just like a bad experience for me. I genuinely think it's that company. Like the manager is like, I don't know, like it happened to my friend at a different mall, like not at the same store. So yeah, and then my job after that, I worked in a pizza shop. I loved it. People I worked with were such like sweethearts, and I applied like the one day, and the girl, she's pregnant, so you know she's gonna have to stop working in a bit. And then the one they lost the light on, like I just took it, and you know, and then about a month later, the one girl Facebook messaged me, and she's like, "Are you still looking for a job?" I said, "Oh my god, yes!" Like lit. And then I went in, and you know I was working there. It was really nice. Like I love the people there. It was a good experience. It's right up the street from my house. But unfortunately, since they were training me, it was easier to, you know, take in somebody that had worked there before who came back. So, not doing that.
But
I decided to go back to camp. The reason I'm going back is because I want to prove myself to them that I am capable of this, which I did last year. They gave me the option of leaving because they saw like how emotionally distressed I was. They called in my parents for a meeting. What you gonna do? And I applied, and surprisingly I got like accepted. I'm like, they're gonna reject me just because
I'm a troublemaker, quote unquote.
quote from one of the people I worked with that I secretly hated. I know that one girl, she worked the summer before me, and then last year she wasn't there, and like other coworkers were talking crap on her, and I was just like, that's gonna happen to me if I don't go, so I need to go. Also, 3 people asked me to come back. 2 workers that I worked with. The one, I definitely thought he hated me. The other one, our friendship's interesting to say the least. And then the third was a camper. The majority of my friends think I should stay home, which I kind of agree with. Those are the jobs I've had. Welcome to your tape, all of my employers.